The Paisley design is actually a very old design that's based on the leaf of a palm tree. So when we start out, we start off with the curved line creating a leaf shape. So when we're drawing with pencil, it's really important that we sketch very lightly until we achieve the kind of mark that we want. So I'm starting with a big curved design, going really lightly, really lightly. We're going to come back later with Sharpie and cover this up. But first we want to get a basic shape. Some people have also compared this to a water droplet. Some people also might think that it looks like the leaf that I mentioned, or it might look like an apostrophe or a comma too. So those are some different shapes to keep in mind. So whenever I'm drawing with pencil, I just keep going back and forth, sketching really lightly until I start to get the shape more and more like I want. I want this end a little bit longer, I just sketch it out. Main thing is don't press down really hard so it indents your paper or your poster board. After I get that basic shape, we want to divide it up into a couple of more areas. And I'm trying to keep a consistent width right here as I go around the interior. What we're doing is we're creating some separate sections in here, so each section might have a different line design. And for my last one here, I want to do a big circle in the middle, kind of like an eye. So that's my basic start to my Paisley pattern. Like all the designs you can see around this, you can fill up that whole space. You don't have to be confined to that space or leave all this area around it empty. My hope is you'll create a border around the edge and then take those lines all the way out. I'm going to switch over to Sharpie now and go ahead and make that part bold. Now, when I'm using the Sharpie, I don't do sketching lines. I try to keep that line very solid, very smooth, very even, very fluid and graceful. That's one of the reasons we can do our sketching in pencil, but then our main design, let's do that with Sharpie and try to make it look very smooth. Again, I'm trying to keep that distance from one section to the other very consistent as I move around the edge of my Paisley. If you wanted to, you could make some measurements, or you could use something like a paper clip, or even just make a mark on your pencil to measure how wide that is all the way around so that you can make it be consistent. But with Paisley, it really doesn't matter because the Paisley is a very fluid design. There's a lot of creativity in it. There's really no wrong way to make a Paisley. Just think about that leaf shape that we talked about. And that's my basic start for the Paisley design. Now I'm going to use my eraser to come back and erase the pencil marks that are back there. Drawing with magic marker is one of the hardest things to do because you can't erase your mistakes. This is a great way you can start a magic marker design or Sharpie design, and it will look really professional. You just sketch it out with pencil really lightly, trace it in Sharpie, and then come back and erase your original pencil marks. It looks even better if you have super fine tip markers like Sharpies. And in middle school and high school, you may have the opportunity to work with different kinds of pencils that have different weights. If you're doing that, always use the very lightest weight that's available to you. All right, so there's our basic start. Now from there, I'd like to make some of these lines a little bit bolder. I make some of these lines a little bit thicker. So let's look at some of our different designs in here. I really like this one right here. This particular Paisley has some more leaves on the interior next to the large circle. And then it's got some thick, bold lines going on in it too. So I'm going to try something kind of like that. I'll start by just going around this one again, adding some circles to it and creating some divisions so it becomes really dark. So Sharpie is one way to do this, but you also might try felt tip pens, which look like an ink pen, but instead of having a ballpoint, they have a soft tip like a Sharpie does. Those are a lot less expensive than Sharpies, and you can get them in lots of different colors without spending a lot of money on them. They're a great drawing tool to have around. So now I just want to come back inside of that and do dots all the way around, and then I'll use the Sharpie to color in the space in between the dots. Again, you don't have to copy the designs I'm doing. You're welcome to take any of these ideas and adapt them to your style. You're also welcome to look at any of the designs on the board. Or as we discussed, you might see Paisley around you in fashion and decorations like curtains, bedspreads, etc.